Okay, so let's talk about Pahalgam. When you think of it, you probably picture something really serene, right? Jammu and Kashmir, the Litter River flowing, maybe those mountain echoes.
Yeah.
Just pure tranquility.
Absolutely. It's got that postcard image, doesn't it? Pine forests, crisp air, it's iconic.
Exactly. But then picture that same place just days after April 22nd, 2025.
Mm.
A major terror attack. 26 people lost their lives. It's just a brutal clash, beauty and tragedy right next to each other.
It really is, and it immediately brings up that huge question. What happens then? In a place that relies so much on being peaceful and welcoming, what's the immediate fallout?
You'd expect maybe silence, fear taking over, wouldn't you? Especially in a region where, tourism is so incredibly vital.
That's the logical assumption, yes. The shock, the trauma. You'd think it would cast a long shadow, make people retreat, shutter everything down.
And yet, that's not quite the whole story, is it?
Yeah.
What we've been seeing in the reports just days later is something that, well, unexpected. Life is already starting to push back through.
It is. Small signs, perhaps, but significant ones. Tourists are actually starting to come back. It feels almost defiant.
Defiant, yeah, that's a good word for it. This quiet choice to still seek out the beauty, to not let the fear win completely.
And that's what we really wanted to dig into. We've looked at reports, some firsthand accounts, trying to get a sense of that immediate human response, not the official statements, but what people were actually doing and feeling on the ground.
Right, so our mission here is to kind of unpack that. How does a community and its visitors choose hope, choose resilience, right after something so terrible? What are the stories telling us?
Precisely. Understanding that immediate choice, stay away or return. And why some were choosing to return so quickly.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate aftermath. The descriptions paint a pretty stark picture, don't they? Pahalgam like a ghost town.
Yeah, that phrase comes up. Silent streets, shops closed, even the shikaras on the river just still. The usual pulse of the place just stopped.
You can imagine the shockwave, that pause. Obviously respect for the victims, but also just raw uncertainty, right, for locals, for anyone thinking of visiting.
Absolutely. That silence wasn't just an absence of sound, it was fear. It was disruption made tangible.
Right.
It hit the heart of the community's daily life.
But then, remarkably fast, by Sunday the 27th, just a few days later, there's this shift. Reports start mentioning small groups of tourists trickling back in.
Trickling is the word. Domestic travelers, even some international ones apparently. It might not have been a flood, but their presence itself, that feels symbolic.
It really does. Like these individuals were making a very conscious choice. We're not going to be ruled by fear. They wanted to see Pahalgam.
Exactly. It's a sort of reassertion of the place's value, saying that the beauty outweighs the perceived risk. And you hear about them taking photos, videos.
Yeah. Which sounds normal, but in that context.
Right. It becomes more than just a holiday snap. It's like, we are here, life is continuing. A subtle but clear pushback against the narrative of terror.
And some of the personal stories are really striking. Like this couple from Pune, they had their trip planned for ages.
And they arrived in Srinagar the day after the attack.
Can you imagine? You'd totally understand if they just got back on a plane.
Completely. The anxiety must have been immense. But what's really interesting is what they reported experiencing.
Which was?
Overwhelming kindness. From the moment they landed, cab drivers, hotel staff, the shikara guys, everyone apparently went out of their way to make them feel safe and welcome.
Wow. So like the local community actively trying to counter the fear.
It seems that way, almost like a defense of their identity, their tradition of hospitality. And the fact this couple did feel safe enough to continue to Pahalgam and plan to share that positive story, that says a lot.
It really does. Then there was that other big group, remember? 50 tourists from Maharashtra.
Oh yeah, the timing on that was incredible. They arrived pretty much as the news was breaking.
Think of their families back home, just getting frantic calls probably.
Absolutely, and it highlights that gap, doesn't it? Between the scary headlines and maybe the reality people were trying to create on the ground.
So how did they feel? Did they panic?
Well, according to one of them, Dr. Shibangi, they actually felt quite safe. She mentioned the cooperation from locals and seeing security forces around. It suggests a real effort to reassure visitors.
And wasn't there someone in that group, Triveni Taida, who was really enthusiastic?
That's right. She was quoted saying they weren't scared at all and was basically telling everyone else they should come visit, like an unofficial brand ambassador, as one report put it.
That's amazing. I mean, that kind of word of mouth, especially right then, from someone actually there, It's powerful.
Incredibly powerful. It's authentic, you know. It directly challenges the idea that the place was just gripped by fear.
Hmm.
It offers a counter narrative where here it's okay, maybe rethink your assumptions.
And it wasn't only domestic tourists making these choices. You mentioned international visitors.
Yeah, there was a report about Croatian tourists, but they were actually in Gulmarg around that time. Still relevant to the overall picture.
Okay, Gulmarg. And what was their story?
Well, one guy, Voltvo, was apparently on his 6th trip to Kashmir.
6th? Wow. That's some serious loyalty to the region.
Isn't it? That speaks volumes about trust built over time. And for the rest of his group, it was their first visit. They arrived after the attack and reported having no security problems.
So even first-timers weren't deterred? They just focused on the scenery, the experience.
Seems so. Either they trusted Voltvo or they just figured an isolated incident didn't define the whole region's safety. They were there for the beauty, and that's what they focused on.
There was also that family from Gurgaon, Kunal Mahajan and his family.
Right, their first family trip. They also arrived after the attack and traveled around a bit. Gulmarg, Sonamarg, Srinagar.
And what stood out from his account?
Again, it was that emphasis on feeling safe because of the locals, their support, their kindness. It's like this constant thread running through all these stories.
The Kashmiri hospitality really shining through, even under duress.
Exactly. It highlights how crucial the local people are. Yes, security forces matter, but that person-to-person interaction, that genuine care, that's often what makes visitors feel truly secure and welcome, especially when things are tense.
So, putting it all together, these tourists returning, these consistent stories of warmth from the locals, it really does feel like a collective pushback, doesn't it?
It really does. A refusal to let terror rewrite the story of Pahalgam and Kashmir. It's resilience in action, on both an individual and community level.
The locals must understand how vital tourism is. It's their livelihood threatened by this violence.
Absolutely. For many, it's the main source of income. So that welcome, that reassurance, it's not just politeness, it's actively trying to rebuild trust to keep that lifeline going.
Of course, we should acknowledge these positive signs don't mean the security worries just disappear overnight. The reports mention security forces are still very active.
No, absolutely not. That visible security presence is part of the reassurance package, for sure. It provides a necessary sense of order. But rebuilding that deeper trust, that takes time. It's a balance.
It's a gradual process. But these early signs are encouraging.
Definitely. And it was interesting how quickly this counter-narrative started to spread, too. Social media posts mentioned just days later, news outlets picking up on tourists returning.
That speed matters, doesn't it? In shaping perception.
Hugely. In our connected world, getting those positive stories out quickly helps counter the initial wave of fear. It offers a more nuanced, hopeful picture of what's actually happening.
So let's circle back to that question. Why Kashmir? Why, especially now, would people choose to go? We know it's stunningly beautiful.
The landscapes are undeniably a huge draw. Pahalgam's meadows, Gulmarg, Dal Lake. It's world-class beauty, no question.
But there's more to it, right? It feels like there's something deeper motivating those choices we saw.
I think so, yes. Beyond the scenery, there's the whole cultural experience, the food, the crafts, and, as we've heard repeatedly, that incredible warmth of the people.
And maybe visiting now feels like something more than just tourism.
I think you're right. It feels like it becomes an act of solidarity, a way of saying, we support you, a vote of confidence in the place and its spirit, refusing to let violence define it.
Like the visitors are saying, we see the beauty, we see the hospitality, and fear won't stop us.
Exactly that. It's a testament to that human desire to connect, to experience beauty, maybe proving that it's stronger than fear sometimes. It highlights that shared humanity, maybe.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the strongest theme that emerges is just remarkable resilience. Pahalgam, hit by tragedy, but days later already showing these signs of life.
Yeah, fueled by these tourists choosing to come, and crucially by the locals determined to welcome them. It's quite extraordinary.
Those individual stories, the Pune couple, the Maharashtra group, Voltvo, the Mahajan family, they build this picture of hope, almost defiance.
They really do. It underscores that power of human connection, that collective will not to be bowed by fear.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About why people travel to places that have known hardship. What is that impulse? Is it just tourism or something more?
It's a great question to ponder. Is there some fundamental human need to witness resilience, to connect with beauty even when it's shadowed by risk, to offer support just by being there?
Maybe it's that understanding that life, with all its beauty and its pain, just continues.
Yeah.
And choosing to participate in that continuation.
Perhaps. Traveling to places like that can be a quiet statement, can't it? Acknowledging the past but believing in the future and the enduring spirit.
A really powerful thought to end on. It certainly encourages you to think about the impact of our own choices and the deep meaning behind simply visiting a place like Pahalgam.